Hello friends. I'm going to compare two very similar books for you. I think it'll be interesting. I enjoyed them both a lot, and I realized that they each have a lot of different things going for them. So I'm going to attempt to define the differences, so wish me luck. Today I'm comparing Caraval by Stephanie Garber and The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. The premise of both of these is the same, essentially. This one came out, I think, last year. This one came out a while ago. I liked them both. This one didn't feel like a copycat. They're very different. They have different qualities. First, I'll tell you a little bit about Caraval. So this one was written for a young adult audience. The story and the characters aren't perfect. It's cheesy if you know stories really well. This one is about this mysterious traveling circus. No one ever knows where it's gonna show up next. And this is set in a time period where everyone's wearing fancy dresses and stuff. I couldn't figure out what time period it was exactly, but it feels like it was a couple centuries ago. So everyone knows that at this carnival you go and you play the game. If you win the game, you win a wish. This girl goes and attends Caraval. She's heard the stories. She has a vague sense of what it's like, but when she gets there, it's way weirder than she thought. This game requires dedication. And it's not a simple game like a ring toss or something. Just being there, you're in the game. And so you have to figure out the game as you go. It's super cool. I liked this one because it's really trippy. It kind of messes with your mind. It's like a puzzle. It keeps you guessing. It's a lot like a thriller, but a fantastical thriller. Caraval has a mysterious owner. There's a lot of magic. This book is like plot twist city. Be prepared to know nothing. It's very cool, and it has a sequel coming out, I think in this next year. I'm really excited to see where the story goes because it's just been so much fun so far. Oh, dang it. I killed the tiny book. The tape ripped the ink straight off the page. Check it out. I thought this was supposed to be laser ink. There, no one will notice. The Night Circus is also about a mysterious traveling circus. If you've seen The Prestige, this one is similar to that story. This is about feuding magicians. So these magicians are performers and they run shows. They run circuses. One of them runs the Night Circus. So on the outside, to everyone who attends the Night Circus, everyone in the public, it's just a circus. It's just entertainment. Very few people consider it to be anything more. But some do. Some realize that there's more to it than meets the eye. This one tells a very interesting and complex story. It spans over many years and just follows the circus's story, both from an outsider's perspective and from the insider's perspective. So it's really cool. It's very subtly unsettling. It's eerie. This one I think is a little more creepy in a disturbing kind of way. Caraval is more like, oh, that's creepy, but that would never happen. This one kind of makes you question everything you know. This one was written for an adult audience. It's definitely more sophisticated, and it's the more well-written of the two. So clearly they are different stories, but the premise is the same. It's about a traveling circus that is more than what it seems. They definitely have their similarities, even in cover design. They both have pinstripes and similar fonts and stars and an overall theme of red and black. I think the cover design conveys the stories pretty well though. Like this one definitely looks more whimsical and this one looks more like a porcelain doll, which makes it look like a horror story, but it's not. I think this one's meant to dazzle you and take you on an adventure because it's a puzzle that needs to be figured out. For this one, you're supposed to kind of just sit back and listen to the story. There's a lot to think about for both of them, and they both have themes of like having to deal with moral codes, deciding what is ethical and what is not. They both have a very fancy formal dress code. They both take place primarily in the night. So they're similar but different. They're the same but unique. If I compared them to movies, this one would be The Prestige and this one would be Inception? I'll go with that. Both were directed by Christopher Nolan, but they're different because they're different stories. To give you an idea of the content of both of them, they're pretty similar. They would both probably be about a PG-13 if they were movies. Caraval would be PG-13 for romance, probably language, perilous situations, things like that. And The Night Circus would be PG-13 for language, but it's like that old person sophisticated sort of language, so it's quite subdued. A very small amount of romance and violence, which would probably be classified as like torture because it's premeditated malicious violence. So yeah, torture. It's not a lot, but it is spread throughout the book. It's really interesting to compare books like this when they have such a similar premise, but then reading them is quite a different experience. Have you read one or either of these books, and do you agree with my description? If you want to add anything, feel free. I'm going to be on the lookout for different books that I can do this with in the future. And if you like books to be rated for their content, let me know about that too. It definitely assists me in making my own reading decisions, so I know that can be helpful. I post a video every single week, so subscribe and like before you leave. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy your time at the circus, which takes place at night of your choosing.